Hello everybody, it's Billy here from Billy English, and I hope you've enjoyed our series on the IELTS speaking exam so far. Remember, there are other videos as part of this series: an introduction, a video on part 1, another video on part 2, and now we have arrived at part 3, the last part of the speaking exam in IELTS. So let's have a look at this part of the exam. First of all, it is also called the two-way discussion. So that is different to part 1 and part 2. In part 2, you were speaking on your own for 2 minutes, but in part 3, you are really going to have a discussion with the examiner. This part lasts between 4 to 5 minutes, more or less. And the questions the examiner asks you are connected to the topic from part 2. Maybe loosely connected, but connected nevertheless. So part 2 is a bit of a preparation for part 3 because you started already thinking about the topic. However, you will be asked to discuss this topic in more detailed and maybe also more abstract ways. And that will happen usually automatically because the questions are more detailed and also a little bit more abstract. Now, you will be required to give longer answers and more detailed answers. That is important to remember. Don't just give short answers. That will not lead to a high band score. Here are some example questions. Hopefully you have watched my video on part 2 and you might remember the prompt card that I gave as an example. It was all about talking about a possession that was important to you. So these questions are connected to this topic. For example, what kind of things do people enjoy buying in your country? Or have people's spending habits changed over the past 30 years? Or do social media influence what people buy? Remember, you need to give extended answers here. Go into detail and make sure that you talk for long enough. If it's too long, the examiner will stop you, so don't worry. Now, assessment criteria, you know those already from part 1 and part 2. They are the same. You will be assessed on your fluency, coherence, your lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and your pronunciation. And as before, let's have a look now at ELSA Speak, the pronunciation coach app, and let's see how we can prepare for part 3 using ELSA Speak. As always, some of the lessons are free. You can access them, you can practice, have a look if you like it, if you find it helpful. If you would like to have access to all of the lessons, remember you need to purchase a subscription and you can get a discount using the link below in the description box. It's an affiliate link and I might earn a small commission, but this is at no cost to you. Okay, let's make a start. Let's have a look at ELSA Speak. Okay, so let's have a look now at part 3 and how we can use ELSA Speak to practice. I've got my phone, you can see it here on the side, and I'm going to open ELSA. And when you open up the application, usually you are in the coach section. You just go one step to the left and click on Explore, and then you probably come to the top here, Oxford Business Results, and then just scroll down until you see IELTS practice for all 3 parts of the speaking test. So let's click on that. And then this part opens up, and like I explained in the videos before for part 1 and part 2, If you haven't watched them, make sure you watch them so you can prepare for those parts as well. You have different band scores. So you could change here the band score to 6, 7, or 9, but I will stay with band 7. So part 1 and part 2 we practiced already in my other videos. Let's have a look now at part 3. So like we discussed before, part 3 is really where we have an in-depth conversation with the examiner, or also called a discussion. So there will be more questions and more interaction between you and the examiner compared to part 2. So you can see we have 5 different topics that we could practice in ELSA. We have, for example, careers and education, places, transportation, hobbies, and meeting people. These are very common topics in the IELTS speaking exam. And for each topic, we have at least 3 lessons, if not more. So for example, careers and education, we have 9 lessons in total. And you can see I have completed 8 out of 9. I was busy. And then we have 6 lessons for places, 3 for transportation, hobbies, and then 6 for meeting people. All of them I think are really interesting, but I would say we make a start with careers and education. This is a really popular topic. It often comes up. And you can see now the first section, the first 3 lessons are about work. And like with the other lessons, there's always a lesson first to prepare you with vocabulary. Then the second lesson is the actual simulation of your part 3. And then the next lesson, lesson 3, is another lesson where you learn some more vocabulary. So we've got work, education, and then personal goals. And we're going to have a look at the first section on work. And you can see here lesson 1, these are collocations for become famous and make a living. And those are really useful phrases that you can use when you do the speaking exam and talk about work. Now, I have demonstrated those in my other 2 videos already, so I will not show you this again. If you don't know this section, have a look at part 1 and part 2 because those lessons are very similar. I'm going to have a look now at lesson 2 because this is the actual part 3 practice. And this lesson here says, what kinds of careers do young people want to have in your country? That is a typical question that might come up. And there will be some more questions. So let's have a look now.
In your country.
I'm just going to put the volume up a little bit. Okay, so you can see here ELSA is the examiner and just asked me a question. And then I have an answer already prepared by ELSA. And obviously you can read over this first to familiarize yourself with the text. And then when you're ready, you hit the record button and start speaking. And remember also that you can toggle at the top between regular feedback and advanced. And I would say start maybe with regular, and then you can always switch to advanced, and advanced will give you more detailed evaluation and feedback on your speaking. So we'll start with regular and later I show you again advanced. So let's have a look here. This is a pretty long answer, which is good, because we need to answer in detail, remember? So let's just practice now. A lot of young people in my country want to become famous on the internet. They want to be social media influencers and make a living online. I think young people wanted to be famous for a long time. So this isn't a new idea, but the ways to become famous have changed. Okay, so it's being evaluated and I get an excellent. Now, when you obviously we continue here because like I said, you want to give a detailed answer. So it's nice if you can say a little bit more about the question. Don't answer in short forms. Try and, expand your answer and maybe give some examples or go into a little bit more detail. So they propose a second part here. I'm just going to read over it. In the past, I think kids wanted to be singers or actors or professional athletes. That's probably still true. But now we have new kinds of celebrities on social media. Okay, now let's have a look.
Who should young people ask for career advice?
Okay, so here Elsa is following up and asking me a second question. And this is exactly what would happen in the exam. So you gave your answer, and when the examiner notices that you have finished, they will give you a second question linked to the topic. Okay, so let's have a look at the answer. Okay, I think I'm ready to record. They should talk to a variety of adults and hear about their careers. It's important to learn about many different careers so you can decide what's right for you. Okay, I think, by the way, this is very good advice. If you're young and thinking ahead of which career to choose, I think you should speak to a lot of adults and find out what options you have. Okay.
Is salary the most important thing to consider when choosing a career?
Okay, so here is a third question, again linked to the same topic. Very important question, I think, as well. I don't think it is. It's easy to focus on your salary, but other things are important too. If you don't enjoy your work at all, you won't be happy. And if you don't have a good work-life balance, you'll be stressed. Okay, again, I think this is very good advice. A good salary is important, but it definitely isn't the only thing that is important. If you are bored or you don't like your job, that wouldn't be fun. You spend a lot of time at work usually, so you should enjoy what you do.
What can people do to balance work and other parts of their lives?
Okay, again, a good question. You could think what you would answer here. Now, this is the answer that Elsa proposes. That's a tough question. You need to make time for things outside of work, but that's not always easy to do. This is something I'm still working on. All right. Okay, and this would be the end here. Now, in the real exam, you might get one or two more questions. That just depends how long your answers were before and how much you've been speaking already, and if the examiner feels you've said enough and they can assess you properly, then they might stop you here, or they might give you one or two more questions, again linked to the same topic. Now, before we click on continue and you can do a review, I just wanted to show you what happens now if I click on advanced, okay? So let's just go back and toggle, move this up here to advanced. Okay, and then you get a more detailed evaluation of your speaking. And if you've watched my videos before, you've heard me say that you shouldn't stress too much, okay? Because I've practiced a lot on this application because obviously I wanted to do all the lessons. And I think from my experience, sometimes it depends a little bit on maybe the clarity, and that obviously is influenced by your microphone in your phone and by the distance to the microphone. I'm not holding up here because I'm filming myself. And so I think anything above 70, 75 is fine. And sometimes you just have to record it again and see if you really get the same low result or maybe it's a little bit higher because the microphone picked your voice up better, okay? So you can see here it's more detailed, and you could have a look at the different sections here. I'm just going to have a look at this last one. And then some letters are in red or maybe in orange. And those are supposedly the letters or the sounds that you mispronounce. So I'm just going to click on tough. And then you see the word comes up and it says, okay, the T sound excellent. And then there's an A and a F. The F is excellent, but the A sounded more like an E. And then it tells you, okay, pronounce the OU here with the vowel A. As in up and luck, your mouth should be a little open, but not too wide. Okay, so you get a little bit more detailed feedback. So the proper pronunciation here is tough. And you could listen to the sound.
Pronounce OU here with the vowel as in up and luck. Your mouth should be a little open, but not wide open.
Okay, so it reads it out again to you actually. Okay, and you could listen to the sound and to the whole word again in slow motion or in natural speed and practice a little bit more. Like I said, I think if you feel like, I think I said this correctly, you could just try again and record the section again and see if you get a better result. However, let's say you have had a look through all the different sections and the different words, and maybe the same sound comes up again and again, and ELSA tells you you have not pronounced this correctly. Then I would recommend you go and practice the sound, and I'll show you quickly where to do this again. Okay, so let's just imagine has come up again and again, and I have to practice more. Okay, so I'll click on continue. And then you see your score, you can review everything. And then I'm just going to go back again and out of the IELTS section. And then remember, when you're back here where you can see the menu at the bottom, you could go to the little icon that looks like a planet. And here you have the different sounds. This is the skills section with the different sounds. And you can see there are all these different planets for the different sounds. And then you could have a look here for the sound. Now, where is it? Let's just have a look. I'm not sure which number it is. All the sounds are here. So there we go. Okay, it's skill 20. And then you could go inside this skill section and do extra practice just on this sound. And in here they also have and and so you can actually compare the sounds. So this is extremely useful as well. So hopefully this section was helpful, and like I said, if you don't have a teacher or you don't have a person that you could actually practice your speaking with, and you really are concerned about your pronunciation, you want to improve your pronunciation especially, then I think ELSA can really be of help. Of course, if you can combine it with talking to a native speaker or a teacher, I think that would be excellent. But until then, you can practice. Remember, some of the lessons are for free, so you can just try it out for free. There's a link below to get to the app for free. But if you want to have access to all of the resources and lessons within ELSA, you can purchase a subscription. And if you'd like to have a discount on your membership, you can use my affiliate link below. Okay, I hope this was helpful, and good luck with your exam.